Hi, CJ the Cardigan Banker here, and this month we're talking all things family business. Welcome to Money Moments with Friends. Today we are here with a true friend of mine, Mr. Marcus Whitfield. He is, if I was interviewing Denise, I would say she is the better half of the Whitfield
Absolutely.
of the Whitfield crew. But today we have Mr. Whitfield, but he is definitely representing him and his wife today for this session with Money Moments with Friends. So please, Marcus, introduce yourself and let's get into it.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk and just be invited to your platform, which you do have an amazing, phenomenal platform. So this is cool. Marcus Whitfield grew up down here on the Gulf Coast in Biloxi. That's how we kind of know each other from our days running up pews and running across the pews and aisles at First Missionary Baptist Church in Biloxi. So plug for First Baptist. But I'm a hometown guy. Went away for college for a couple of years, moved back, and now I was a teacher for 8 years, 2 years in the Biloxi public school system, and 6 years in Pass Christian. Love both school districts, but got the opportunity to do what I wanted to do. That was be a head high school baseball coach. But now I've kind of transitioned into financial services and business, which is really neat and cool because when I think about where I've come from and my parents and the things, the journey I've been down, uh, I feel like there's a purpose and a reason why I'm here. And it's more than just, to make a dollar or two, but it is to really serve and help a community, to really do the things that we need to do to grow, protect, grow our wealth, and to make sure that we are on the right track and just make available the things that were kept from us in the past, or
Right.
not taught. And so yeah, that's me.
So it's so funny you talk about the past. So the first question that I always ask during these interviews, I like to know what's your first memory of money? And when I ask that question, I always like to ask like, was it I got a piggy bank or I got some money for my birthday or my parents always said we didn't have enough to that we were rich, we could afford whatever it was that we wanted. So just what was your first kind of understanding of money?
All right. So that's all right. So my first memory and my first understanding are two totally different. So
Oh,
like
let's
my
go with
first,
memory. You're
all
right.
right. So my first memory. So of course, as a kid, you get a dollar, whatever, you can buy things. But my first real memory, because a dollar bill or a dollar bill or $100 bill, it weighs the same. It's the same size. I could remember in Memphis, Tennessee, on Christmas, getting $100 bill from my grandmother on my mom's side,
Mm.
and I got $100 bill from her, and I just looked at it in awe. I was like, God, like it's $100.
Yeah.
And the thing, what came out of my mouth next got me in trouble because I was like, it's just it's just paper. Like it feels just like a $1 bill. And that's not what I was trying to express to my mom, but she got so mad
Love
because
Mr.
she's like, you
Nate.
better be
Love
grateful
Mr.
for that
Nate.
because your grandma did not. Yeah, and I was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like it's the same size and the same weight, but it has more value. Like it's worth so much more. And like that's my first memory with money and like having like a good bit in my hand. But my first understanding of money was my mom again when I was 20. And we was on vacation in Hawaii. And at the time, my mom had the Subway, so she had the store. Well, we're in Hawaii and she calls back to Biloxi to check in on the store and see how much money, how the store did that day. And something just clicked right then and there. It was like, wait, time out, mom, hold on. We're on vacation and the store did this. I knew the store was open, but it was like, wait, we're on vacation, but you still made money today? Like she's like, yeah, that's why you have a business. That's why you grow a business. I'm like, so you're making money and not working? She's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get it. And it took me years to really understand that, even though that was like the aha moment.
Yeah.
I still, went work the job and things like that. But it took me years to like really hone in on that and just like, that's why people have businesses. That's why people grow businesses. It's not to work the business forever,
Right.
but it's to have that stream of income coming in, that passive income to where
Right.
it's like, regardless if I'm here or not,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have money like in my household. And so that was my first understanding of money. And
I love that. I love that because I definitely felt like that entrepreneurial spirit was sparked
it
in you.
was,
And that, I
it,
mean, your dad was an attorney, still, is an attorney, and so even that, has an entrepreneurial side to it, and just you didn't come from parents who essentially punched the clock for 20, 30 years and then went on to retire. So though kind of like similar to my household, my dad was an Air Force guy. My mom was
yeah,
always an entrepreneur. She owned a salon when I was growing up. So I definitely saw some of those things coming up to where it's like, listen, my mom was at all of my field days, every award ceremony. She didn't have to, ask for a
yep.
day off here or do this or do that. So I know for me, that's what literally, if I could sum entrepreneurship up in a phrase, and it's definitely more vast than this, but it's not having to ask somebody to go do something for your kids.
100%. That's it. And like you'll probably see like in the mirrors in the background, like my little one like shoot in and out because
I've seen
he's trying to,
cakes.
so he's trying to see what it's, and that's the thing.
Right.
Like I get to pick him up every day at school.
Yes.
As a school teacher, the one thing I did look forward to was having him in the same building.
Yeah.
That was cool. But now being, not working for somebody, but having a business to where I take him to school in the morning, I get to pick him up from school at home. We get to, fool around, and then we do the homework before I get yelled at by Denise, things like
Right.
that.
Right.
And because it's better get done. And then,
Yeah.
just having that. And I'll tell you, like my parents, they didn't push entrepreneurship on me. They let me and my brothers make our own choices. But it was kind of always like, don't always work for somebody else.
Right.
It's okay to have a job, but then, just don't always depend on it. Don't always. And so my dad, like you said, was the attorney. And growing up, I was like, that's a job, being an attorney. I didn't understand the business side of it at that point in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, my mom, she worked in the casinos at a point in time, but then there just came a point in time where she's like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna make that leap and go into business for myself. And she opened up the franchise with Subway. And then it was like, okay. And like I said, when I was 20, it clicked. It was just like that statement on vacation. Still, she's like, yeah, the store did like $2,200, which for a Subway store in one day, that's good. I was like, man, okay, I get it now. So yeah, absolutely.
And so we just talked about Caden. So how important is generational wealth to you?
Generational wealth, to me, it is very important. And this is why, because I feel like I think of life, so athletic background, former coach, things like that. I think of life as a game or a sport or something like that, especially like related to track. So a lot of people can understand track. They watch track on like the Olympics or maybe have ran track before, and it's the relay race. And so generational wealth for me is, it's my job to run my portion of the race and hand the baton off to my son and give him a head start in life.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I do are going to directly affect him and the things he's able to do going forward. And if I should slip up, if I run out of my lane, if I drop the baton, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, then we're disqualified as a family. And then he has to pick that baton up and go all the way back to the starting line when everybody else his age has such a much further head start. So generational wealth, and it's a lot of people talk about it, but it's like, okay, how do we achieve it?
Right.
And that's the next question. Like, yeah, I would love generational wealth, but how do I achieve that? And so for me, is one, it's understanding what the plan is having protection on that plan with everything that I do. But then two, having some sort of account that is going to provide that head start for him. My dad, one thing that he's done for all his grandchildren is start a college fund. He's like, this is my thing for them.
Right.
And so that head start is already being done for college. And then we've started a Roth IRA because we have a business.
Right.
So he could be an employee of the business. I could pay him $6,000 a year, no taxes coming out, things like that. And so we could fully fund that Roth IRA for him now as a 6-year-old, when most people don't do it till they're in their 20s or 30s or something like that. So even putting just $25 a month away in there will have a significant advantage for him. And so that's just that transfer of wealth, the things that we do as parents to give him that head start. And it's not really to just give him money, but it's to show him the right things to do, excuse me, the right things to do so that when he's finished with college or starts working or has a business of his own, that he's like, okay, I know from every dollar that I make, 10 cents has to go into this account.
Right.
If I make $1, I keep a dime. If I make $1, I keep a dime. If I make $1, I keep a dime, and not make $1 and spend $1.10. Right. So it's just the right principles and things like that, which would which would set us up, because you got to think about it. It's not that our grandparents or our parents didn't want to set us up, because the only thing, and I'm sure your parents were the same way, they was like, I work so hard so you could be better than me, or I do the things I do so you could be better than me. And that was their way of giving us the best opportunities available at that point in time, to make sure that, okay, I don't have to just settle for this. My mom or my dad or whoever, they're busting their tail for me so I can go to college.
Right.
Or they're busting their tail for me so I could pick up a trade. And so that was their way of transferring the knowledge or whatever. But now I think it's like, okay, if something happens to me, my son is going to inherit a house. If something happens to me, my son will have money already working for him. So when he's 25 or 30, whatever, that account is at whatever amount, and he'll be able to do with it as he needs to propel himself even further. So it's just teaching the principles that we should be teaching to make sure that it grows the way that it needs to grow.
It's so funny. I've always had a concept of generational wealth, but I feel like information is so readily available now. So for me, I often feel like there should be no one that is sitting there saying, how do I grow money? How do I invest in stocks? How do I open up a mutual fund? Because you have companies like Primerica and gentlemen like you walking around that literally will walk you through, all these different models in terms of growing your money. Another thing too, I wanted to point out when you were talking about, building wealth for your son, for me, oftentimes I include them in the conversation. Like as I'm opening up an account for them, or I make them, go make their deposits at the credit union into their accounts. I'm always talking about it. So now they've actually, one of them won an essay contest. Shout out to Josiah. He won a $200 gift card for that essay contest, and literally he thought it was $1 million. And I was like, Josiah, your mother is the Cardigan banker. I was like, baby, he was building a mansion with that $200 mark. He's like, okay, so when I build my mansion, I'm like, okay, slow down. So for me, I'm kind of like, okay, let me make this more tangible for them, because we're dealing with small change in terms of money in their hands. And so now I have them paying for things. So with that gift card, I let him pay for his food. I let him buy a toy from the store. And he's like, how much I got now? So he's getting the concept of the subtractions, because before it was all the pluses. I'm putting this in your account. I'm giving you this. Well, now he's seeing the other side of it, and it's causing him to think twice. He's like, okay, so this one's $20. Yes, this transformer is $20. Well, how much is this one? Well, this one's $7. So technically I could get, they're learning math now. They've been learning math in second grade. Okay, right. So 7 plus 7 is 14. So that means I could get 2 transformers instead of this one that's 20. So they're thinkers. And so I just think that that's one of the best gifts that we can give our children. Not only is a gift of money, but the gift of knowledge. We have to continue to transfer those money knowledge chips too.
And I love that, because when the money leaves their hand, now it's not just like Caden, he'll say you could use your credit card, you could use your debit card. I'm like, no, that's money coming out of my account. I'm like, I don't have cash on me. Oh, you could just use your credit card, debit card. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I don't have cash.
Yep. That's one of the first lessons that I taught them, actually.
When he just had a birthday. Yeah. And he just had a birthday, and some of his birthday presents, of course, were cash. And so we took 10%, set it aside, and then the rest is for him to spend. And he wanted to go somewhere this weekend, and we went. He wanted to get something. I said, all right, here, this is your money. And he used it, concession stand and all that stuff, and he paid for it, got his change back and stuff like that. And he understands, once it's gone, it's gone. I get something back for it, but that money's gone. Yeah. So if you want to hold on to it, you better make the right choices.
This is funny. Shout out to Caden, because he's going to be like the most popular kid, because they're going to be like, that's Mr. Whitfield's son. We know he going to have some money when he get out of
We hope so. We hope so. We
Right,
better do the
right.
right things. I tell you that.
So listen, when did you, I know you said, you're a public school educator for a number of years. When did you decide to make that leap into entrepreneurship, and how did you go about just deciding basically? I'm sure it was a family conversation, but what made you just say, I'm ready to leave? Was it that you had saved up that emergency fund, and so just in case you never sold a policy at all, you knew you had 6 months or a year to kind of make it work? So tell me a little bit about that transition.
So for me, being in Primerica and working the business on a part-time basis, it really allowed me. The reason I'll tell you this, the reason why I got into business was because as a teacher, we don't make a lot of money. Well, Caden came along, and now daycare, all that, just financially whooped my tail. I had to find some way to make extra money. So that's why I even got into business. And then I took time to learn it, to grow and get better. And I got to the point to where I was making, $750, $1,000, $1,200, really not putting a lot of time and effort into it. And I can remember it was October of 2016, because I always hinted and talked about going full time. What if I could really grow a business? October 2016, my dad comes by the house and we're talking. He dropped something off for Caden. Caden's 1 at the time, and we're talking a little bit. And Denise goes to give Caden a bath, and we step outside on the front porch, and we talk for about 45 minutes. And he asked me that same question. He's like, "So when are you going to go full time in your business?" I said, "Well, I plan on it one day." And he really he hit me in the gut with this next thing that
He does.
came out of his mouth. He said, "Huh?" Yeah, he said, if you believe in God the way you say you believe in God, you just have to step out on faith and do it. And I looked at him, I was like, you could have said anything else. Why did you just, because for me, it was like a gut punch, saying, testing my faith.
Yes.
And the next thing he said, he's like, I was scared to death when I went to, like you said earlier, when I opened my own practice, because he said, I had to make X amount of dollars before I ever saw a penny. Yeah. And so I started thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? And anybody who watching this, not trying to project faith or anything onto anybody, but I'll tell you mine. And I truly believe that the things that you ask for, if you ask for it and you work for it, God will grant you those things, the fruits of your labor. And so as I thought about it, I said that everything that I've truly prayed for and truly worked for, God has provided. And so what am I scared of? And so that was 2016, October 2016. June of 2017, went to a convention, and then leaving that convention, me and Denise had a conversation. I said, babe, I cannot work in a school district for another 21 years, I think it was at the time, another 21 years. She said, so what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna go full time. She said, when? I said, give me a year. Give me a year, let me put some money away. Let me do it right, so give me a year. And when that year came up, CJ, I'll tell you this, man, when I had a teacher call me and say, hey, where are you going? I was like, I'm going jump in my business full time. She's like, okay, cool. I said, how did you know? Because I just talked to somebody yesterday about it. She said, your job is posted. When I looked and saw my job, I about fainted. I about hit the ground because it was real then.
It was real.
And so it was like, okay, this is really happening. You got to get to work. And so I think at the time I had 5 months saved up of emergency expenses and things like that. I said, if I can't make it in 6 months, I'll go back, I'll find another job, I'll go back and teach and things like that. But here we are 4 years later, and I still have a roof over my head, still have an office to go to. My wife hasn't divorced me yet, so we're still good.
That's what you should have said first.
Huh?
You should have said the wife haven't divorced you yet
first. Yeah. So it truly is just, God's got my back. Wife is super supportive. Be here. And so what made me take that leap? Having that conversation, going to that convention, having a support system in my house, that's what did it for me. And for people who don't have that, you have to find it from somewhere, and so if you're an entrepreneur or whatever, if you don't have that initial support, you have to find it from somewhere, because somebody, and I truly believe this, somebody has in the same situation as you, if not worse. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because I can have a super huge month, a great month 1 month, and then the next month it could be terrible.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is you just need to be even keeled, and you learn very quickly in business how to manage your expenses, because whenever I make, I can't just spend, I have to save.
Right.
Because if I do have a bad month, I need that good month to overcome the bad month and then some.
And that's so funny because the next question I was going to ask you was to give some encouraging words to any entrepreneurs that are on the fence, and you literally just did that.
But and that's it. You have to be. My thing is, and the one comfortable, because if you're comfortable now, you'll be uncomfortable in a way that you don't want to be uncomfortable later.
Right.
And so there's always the pain of change or the pain of regret. You either go through the pain of change now or go through the pain of regret later. Like, and that's one thing that I didn't want to happen. I didn't want 10 years to pass and be saying, man, I wonder what would happen if I really gave it a shot, if I really went for it. Like, and so I didn't want to go through the pain of regret. So I just decided to go through the pain of change, and changes I had to work on myself, still working on myself, and it was a change in family life, things that I was able to do early on and still is. So do I sacrifice a little bit of family time? A little bit, but my business still works around my family now. And for anybody who's looking to go, if you find a need, and if you could feel the need, then you'll be fine. And don't worry, and think about it like this too. Don't worry if somebody already does it, because if you walk into Walmart, go down the bread aisle, there's 15 different breads. Same product,
Same thing.
15 different companies. Somebody, the pie is big enough for everybody. So as long as you keep your blinders on, as long as you don't look at the next person who's doing something like you or wondering why, oh man, that's my friend, why are they doing business with them, not doing business with me or whatever, it's okay, because the right person will do business with you. Take your briefcase 30 miles from your hometown or from your house, and you're an expert. Because the people that, and I promise you this, the people that don't know you, if you know this much more than them, they'll look at you as the expert.
Right.
Now, all you have to do is just deliver.
Very right. Very right. So listen, who keeps markets afloat? Who is in your GGG? So financial coach, mentor, your insurance agent. I'm pretty sure you're your own insurance agent,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure you have mentors in the industry. Do you have an attorney, a CPA? Because I feel like a lot of times people, when they see people who are similarly successful, they forget about all the people that are kind of holding them up, that's keeping them from paying a ton of taxes, or is keeping them out of legal trouble in their business. So who does that for you?
Oh man, a plethora of people. Oh, um, who keeps me afloat? Who keeps me grounded, motivated? Of course, my wife always, push me out there to do things and get better and grow. Who do I go to for legal advice? He's not an attorney anymore, but my dad, but then he'll point me in the right direction as to where I need to be for that. Um, I get insurance and investment advice from people in the business, just like you said, who are further along than I am, who've been in business longer than I have. And anytime I have a question or concern or comment, I go to them and say, hey, look, what would you do in this situation? Or how would you handle this? Or how would you take this and make sure it works best for them? Anything that I do for an investment, I always get double checked by somebody. And, sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, that's spot on. Sometimes they will say, no, try it this way, take this back and start and work the numbers this way. And it will put the person in better, because I feel like, two minds are better than one, especially if they've been in business 15 years longer than I have. They've seen more. And I go to people for taxes. I go to people, like, it's not just me. It's not just me. If an attorney has to go to court because they're in one court, they don't represent themselves most of the time. They have somebody, because you got to take yourself and remove yourself from the situation because you're too close. It's too personal. And so it's like, okay, I really don't want to pay taxes. Okay. So you know what? I'm just going to write this all off as, when you can't do that. You need somebody to tell you, like, no, you have to do this, or you need to do that, or you need to set 20% aside from every month, or whatever the case may be. You don't need yes men in your corner. Yeah. You need people who are going to just straight up tell you, like, that ain't right, and be blunt with you. And I got people who have nothing to do with business, nothing to do with where I'm going, in my corner, because what they do is, they're just good people who keep you. who lets you know, like, that just, it keeps you grounded, it keeps you focused, it helps you understand, like, yeah, this is where I'm looking to go, but these people are going to make sure that I don't keep my heads in the clouds.
Right.
That I stay level headed, I stay focused. It doesn't matter how successful I am. If it changes me as a person, then it's for naught. And I tell people this too, like, making money, and trust me, I am nowhere near where I want to be in business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nowhere near. I'm so much further than where I am from when I started, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
You're moving forward though.
That's it. Right. And some people, because I told one person, and I'll tell you this, I got big goals and big dreams. Somebody asked me one time when I first went into business, they said, so how much, like, where do you want to be? How much would you want to make a month? I said, $250,000 a month. And they looked at me and was like, what would you do? I don't need that much money. What would you do with that money? I said, whatever I wanted to do. That's $3 million a year. Whatever I want to do with it.
Right, whatever I want.
But here's the thing, in business, if I'm making that much, then I've helped so many other people make $250,000 or $100,000 a month or $50,000 a month or $50,000 a year, $100,000. It's not just about me. And I truly believe this: if you want something, you need to help somebody else achieve the things that they want. And in return, you'll be blessed as well. And so, what could I do with $250,000? Think about what you could do with $250,000 a year. Think about how many people you could help, how many churches you could support financially, how many missions that you could do, how many, shelters you could support, or any schools, how many scholarships you could provide. And so it's just like, it's not I think money's a tool. It's not the end all to end all. It's a tool to help you achieve and do the things that you want to do. And what money will do, it will expose that person as well. If they're a bad person before they had money, when they have the money, they're going to be worse. Right. If they're a good person with a good heart, then before they had money, now that they have more of it, they're going to help more people. Mm-hmm. So money is just a tool. And I feel like if you work hard for it, then you'll be blessed with it. One of the affirmations that I have written on my bathroom mirror, it says, money is all around me. I will acquire it frequently and abundantly. Mm-hmm. I will be a good steward of my money and fulfill all of my dreams and destiny. And just saying that, and when you believe it, right. It's crazy how, there's really no reason why I don't think people can go out and do something if it's just a side hustle, if it's jump into business, if you could, like I said earlier, if you could find that need and if you could feel it. I'm kind of big on social media, and TikTok is like one of the best platforms that I've been on.
I know, you told me about it. I'm not ready for TikTok.
It's such a good platform, and this is why, because if you search for the right things, it's a good platform. And this is why, because I saw somebody on there. Here's an 18-year-old kid with a side hustle. This is what they did. They just go to the neighborhood and they paint the house number underneath the mailbox.
Yep.
That's it. Charge $15-$20 for it. Like, people pay for that? Okay, cool. Like,
sure will, because we had a guy to come through our neighborhood and do it, because I think I guess maybe if you don't have your porch light on, maybe you can't see the number on your house. Yeah. But you will see it on the street, like if you ever need the cops or ambulance. Exactly. So I thought it was genius when a little guy came around here. Now I know there's a young kid doing it. I'm like, I need to find a teenager and hip them to the game. But definitely, everybody in my neighborhood took them up on the offer.
There you go. And you got to think about $20, 10 houses, that's $200 right there. 100 houses, that's $2,000. You just got to get out and do the work. That's it. Get out and do the work.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. I've definitely enjoyed speaking with you today. I definitely want to have you come back on to talk a lot more about the investment side and trying to get people to build that generational wealth with other tools. Because I think when people think insurance salesman, they instantly think life insurance, car insurance, home insurance, but it's so much more when it comes to retail financial products. So I definitely want to have you to come back and chat with me about that.
It would be an honor and a privilege. And I tell people, look, the conversation we have, it might be 30 minutes, but it could be a $250,000, $500,000, $1 million conversation, because over time, if I can help you acquire an extra $250,000 at retirement, or $500,000 at retirement, or $1 million or more at retirement, then that's where the conversation really changed from, okay, I'm just I got a life insurance policy that's $60 and I'm putting away $100 a month for this in this Roth IRA, to, oh, in 30 years, this is going to be $400,000 extra at retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, my TSP or my 401k works like this. Okay, and this is tax free now. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, it'd be an honor.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mark. It's nice